Should we bring the man of the hour in?
Let's bring Elijah in.
Come
here.
on in. I remember as we were preparing to broadcast BYU's 2016 season opener and asking, who is this Elijah Bryant kid from Elon College? And we found out, and he's no longer a kid. He's a husband, father, two-time international champion, both with the NBA and the Euro League and the Turkish League. Our pleasure to welcome Elijah Bryant to the Wise Guys. We've been working on this interview for about a year and a half. Yeah. You're finally back in the States for a little bit, and we're so thrilled to have you here. Welcome back. Welcome home.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me.
Dave and I were talking, we kind of teased this earlier, that we don't think anyone in the history of BYU basketball has ever won an NBA championship, a Euro League championship, and a Turkish League championship, let alone back-to-back years. That's pretty cool. Has anybody else done that? I mean, Danny's won some world championships.
But he didn't do that, and he didn't do them back-to-back.
And when Greg was with the Celtics when they won a world championship, wasn't he? Greg
Yeah,
Kite,
but not. I don't think they three.
Did Freddie ever win one?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not three.
But back-to-back championships. Like, this is a charmed life. You're having a great run here.
I mean, obviously, I give all the glory to God. I think it takes a little bit of luck, but I also think being ready for your opportunity when it comes, allowing yourself the best chance to win. And God willing, I've been able to be on some really good teams with some really good teammates and have some success.
When you were talking to Janelle's dad before you got married, and you were rolling out how you're going to provide for her in her life, did any of this stuff come up?
Not necessarily. I mean, he's more focused, obviously, on being a man of God and that type of stuff. But I think he saw my work ethic and how I approached not just basketball, but everything in my life, and he kind of knew that if it's not basketball, he's going to be successful at something.
You're successful at a lot of things. Yeah. But you got 3 championship rings.
Yeah.
What it's been like for the two of you? This last few years as you've kind of traveled the world with basketball. I think everybody knows what it's like to be a married student at BYU and be an athlete. There's lots of those, but this journey that you've been on has been pretty unique. What's that been like?
Yeah, I think I try to take it, one day at a time. This lifestyle we live isn't for everyone, obviously. With the NBA situation, packing up our house that we lived for 10 months and getting on a plane and then having to separate. But I think, obviously, it's my wife's the secret sauce to it all, keeping the house in order so I can really focus on the court. But it's I like to call it controlled chaos, right? And I think everyone has some sort of that in their life, whether it's kids running around the house or whatever. Ours just happens to be in 10 to 12 bags traveling across the world.
If you go to YouTube and you type in Elijah Bryant, there's some cool videos that come up with you and your family that highlight what you're talking about. But let's go back to 2014. You just win Rookie of the Year in the Colonial League at Elon College. What prompted you to transfer to BYU?
Yeah, so for me, I'm all about getting better. That's my motto, one cent club, consistency over time. And I just felt like I accomplished everything I could do there, and winning Rookie of the Year kind of showed me that, okay, maybe I need to be on a bigger platform, a bigger stage, better players. So obviously I visited Miami, Butler, and BYU, and I understood that the ball is going to stop bouncing one day, and I needed to grow in other aspects of my life, whether that's through my education, mentally, spiritually, physically, all that. So I thought, okay, at the time, in terms of those schools, BYU might not be the best basketball school per se, but if they have the best facilities, resources to provide me with the opportunity to excel my game, then that'll be good for me. Plus, I'll have the opportunity to be around like-minded people with the same religion. Yeah.
And so was it an easy sell once you came here and looked around?
Yeah, so I visited my junior year. Not unofficial visit. And I loved it. It was the mountains. It just seemed so surreal. And I like, dang, it'd be so nice to play at BYU, be around like-minded people. And then right after I committed to Elon, I don't know if I told this story, I got the notification that the lefty, Matt Carlino, was transferring.
Yeah, man.
And they were kind of telling me, oh, okay, we don't know if someone's leaving, not leaving. So I called my coach and I commit. Less than 5 minutes later, the notification comes through and says, Matt Carlino's transferring. I'm like, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. So then I end up going to Elon and then transferring to BYU, and it all worked out.
Timing's an amazing thing.
Exactly.
In your mind's eye, you talked about, hey, I want to become more well-rounded and be around like people. Did you picture Janelle someplace in that as you were thinking? I go to BYU. I'm certain you didn't know it was Janelle, but I'm going to find my Janelle when I get there. Was that part of the plan when you came here?
Yeah, I think, thinking about my life after basketball, and I wanted to find my wife at school with the same religion. So I think that was a big selling point, not just for the school, but for me looking at the school, and that obviously helped a lot.
Amber from New York says, congratulations on the little one.
Oh, thank you.
Who's not
so
as
much.
little.
Yeah.
Congrats on that. We'll talk about that in a minute. You light up Portland on February 23rd, 2017. So you've come, you sat out, you did all that stuff. Now you're in 39 points, 21 of them from 7 3-point shots. Is this the night where you start thinking, hey, I might be able to get a job shooting hoops?
I think for me, my belief has always been that I'll play basketball professionally. Obviously, I want to play in the NBA and sustain NBA career. Being an athlete, there's a borderline between cocky and confidence, and you have to kind of tote that line. So a lot of people look at it and say, "Oh, he's leaving early. He doesn't." But people don't understand. In order to make these teams, make the NBA, win championships, you have to believe in yourself. So it wasn't specifically that game. I always knew that I would be ready for my opportunity when it came. And obviously that game gave me some confidence going into that year, dealing with some injuries before that.
Yeah.
But I think me as a player always knew I would be successful in basketball, whether that's NBA, overseas, or whatever that is.
I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned the injuries. Dr. Lynn's a good friend of mine that worked with you, Charlie Lind. And, you had some pretty serious injuries that you had to do. People see the polished player that was great, could create your own shot and do all that. They saw that guy out there, but they didn't. Not many people realize the grind you went through after transferring to come through the injury and have surgeries and get healthy again and do all of that. What was that like, and how did you get through that to the point where these things we're talking about, where you were a star again?
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably the biggest blessing for me, just because, sometimes we need that humble pie. I kind of felt like, after my redshirt year, I was like, I'm only going to play at BYU for 1 year and I'll have an opportunity to leave. And then that situation happened, and it kind of made me not only reset my priorities, but understand that I'm human and I can get injured and stuff like that. But it made me really dedicate myself, not only physically to my diet, my body, but mentally. That's when I really locked in to working with Craig Manning and really understand the dynamics of, the psychology behind sports. And I think that's helped me be very successful dealing with overseas. You go in the gym and the rim's a little bit crooked, or you go in the gym and the gym doesn't have AC. So there's all these different things you can't control. But I think having that situation, adversity, and learning how to problem solve through that helped me a lot.
2 days after you get the 39, you go into Spokane. First time in program history, BYU beats a number 1 team in the country as you beat Gonzaga 79-71. You tie the game at 71 with a couple of free throws, and then the guys pull it out, and you finished with 14 points. There are big moments, and you've had some. We're going to talk about them. But where is that moment when you as a team went up there and stuck it to the Zags?
Yeah, I think it was super special. Obviously, I was coming off a big game, but we knew what we had, a great opportunity at hand. And I think the guys kind of understood. And I think it's funny because I was thinking about this moment the other day. Someone was discussing something about a basketball situation, and the coach brought him in and kind of smiled and said, "Isn't this fun?" Like, I remember Rose, we were like, they came out like just destroying us. We were like, wow, we understand why they're so good. Like a 12-0 run or something like that. And Rose just brought us all in and started laughing, and we were just kind of threw us off, but also kind of reset us too, because we were expecting to get, cussed out. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But it kind of reset us, like, enjoy this moment. Like, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Enjoy it. And I think I didn't have particularly my best game that game, but then guys kind of released and then started playing well, and we were able to get a win at the end.
Yeah, Coach Rose, he won a lot of games for a reason. He kind of could sense what that team needs. Sometimes he needed to get into you, and other times he needed to lighten the moment, and he could tell you needed a lighter moment, it sounds like, in that one.
Of all the amazing nights and big wins in BYU history, that one is right up there.
Yeah.
And that had been, it was cool to watch. I imagine it was fun to play.
It was super fun to play.
Recognize the moment. We talk about that a lot on this show. So in 2018, you finished second in scoring the WCC, your first team all-conference that year. And then after the season, you and Janelle decide, hey, it's time to go. We're just going to go take a shot at this thing called pro basketball. Was that a tough decision, and how did you come to it?
I don't think it was too tough for me. I think my plan is always to, like I said before, play professional basketball. And I think I kind of did everything I could at BYU to put myself in the best position, considering that the NBA looks at you as old if you're 23 or 22.
Yeah.
So kind of looked at the reality of it, knowing that I'm older, playing in a smaller conference. My chances are really going to be that much better if I stayed next year. And I kind of looked myself in the mirror, made the decision, and I said I can live with my decision if it doesn't work out, but I can't live with someone else's. So we made that decision, and we started off in Israel, and it's been up and down, obviously, but
Mostly up.
Mostly up. Yes, it looks up from the outside, but there's obviously adversity
for sure.
you're dealing with during the season. But it's been a blessing for sure.
What was it like? You leave BYU and the draft comes and goes, and no one calls Elijah Bryant's name, which then leads you to Israel. But in that moment, did you think, oh, maybe I should have stayed, or were you just headstrong and it's time to play for money?
Yeah, I think for me, I try to never have any regrets. So I made the decision. I put my big boy pants on. Now it's time to take care of my family. And if anything, obviously, I for sure cried draft night, like just because it's your dream, you want to hear your name called. But I think in the end, it worked out better in my favor, because if I would have been drafted late second round, then my rights would have been held by that team. And I wouldn't have been able to make it to Milwaukee unless a trade situation happened.
Yeah.
But I think it just made me work harder, made me understand that people were doubting me even more. So that's one of my best attributes, I would say, is my work ethic.
Play with a little chip on your shoulder. So you're in Israel, but you're still thinking there's got to be a pathway for me to the NBA at some point, right? So in 2019, the Bucks invite you to play on a summer league team in Vegas. You jump at it, but afterwards you signed again, and you signed in Tel Aviv. At what's the team? Maccabi, which is a good, one of the best teams over there. When you left Vegas, did you have any idea that the Bucks would keep you in mind and keep their eye on you for a later opportunity?
Yeah, so I think just like any career world, it's really small, right? Basketball world is really small in terms of NBA, overseas, all this stuff. I had some opportunities to stay in America that year, but it just didn't make sense for me and my family. And so I decided to go back, and obviously I played well in that summer league, so the Bucks said, we'll keep trying to figure out a way to, if this can work out. And then God willing, that summer, or not that summer, late in that year, something started shaking and moving, and we got something worked out.
Yeah,
Elijah,
how'd that call go?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's good. You said later it worked out. So you're playing, and then they call, and it's late in the season. They're like, "Hey, we need you, right?" Well, tell us about that call. That had to be a great moment.
And this is now May of 21, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost a year and a half later.
Yeah.
The call comes to your agent, and your life's about to change.
Yeah. So they called early in the year and wanted me to be on a two-way contract. It's a little lower level contract, and I didn't really want to do that. I was in the middle of the season. It's just a lot to move. And then they called later and said, hey, we want to, sign him to a real contract where we're going to waive this guy. And overseas, I didn't have an NBA buyout at the time, so you have to figure out exactly what the, negotiations are. And my agent was kind of telling me, I always tell him, be realistic with me. What are the chances it's going to happen? He's like, this is tough because you don't have an NBA buyout. Now the team knows the NBA wants you. They're going to try to ask for everything. I said, give me every owner's number. So I called every single owner on the phone. It would be like calling Ryan Smith on the phone. I called every single on the phone and just explained to him the situation that I'm in, and that this is a dream of mine. Please don't take this away. So, which I could live with that if they said no, but knowing that I tried everything in my possible power to do it. So I did that, and it ended up working, and we were able to get to Milwaukee.
And did your agent learn a lesson that I need to put a buyout clause from the NBA in his next contract?
Well, I had a buyout clause. I was buyout clause before that summer, but this is the last year on this deal.
Oh.
So it was kind of but there's always a way to get out of a contract when you start talking money. So
yeah.
Elijah Bryant, former BYU star, international star, currently is with us and is one of his rare North American interviews. That's
right.
What we'll call that, a rare North American interview. Let's go to May 16th, 2021. After all the hopes and dreams and all that stuff, growing up wanting to play in the NBA, you're in the NBA. The Bulls are the opponent. You're playing for the Bucks. It's your one and only, so far, NBA regular season game, and you go for 16 points. Yeah. So let's talk about the first basket that you made. Do you remember the moment, the feeling, or was it just all locked in business?
No, I remember it because I remember it was a tight race. They're in the standings, and I remember the coaches walking watching the game and kind of figure out who's playing, who's not playing. And then once they kind of figured out who's playing, they came in, you're dressing. And all of a sudden, I remember I was in the back and I was like, because the warm-ups, like I had never really worn the warm-ups. So I was like, the other guys were laughing at me. I was like practicing ripping off the warm-ups and they were just like dying laughing. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going to be the first time out there and get embarrassed and not be able to rip them off. So we come out to the court. They get kind of notification that I think Cleveland won or Brooklyn won. So this game didn't matter. So all the main guys, I'm not playing, whatever.
And main guys, we're talking about some of the best in the world.
Yeah, Giannis, Drew,
So Giannis to us, and I've not been next to Giannis and haven't called games when he was in college or any of that. We get around a lot of athletes, but he seems like a freak among freaks. Is he great to play with?
He's a Greek freak, obviously. Yeah, he's very, very athletic.
Nobody that big and that long is supposed to be able to run and jump and do all that, right?
Exactly. It's very, it's freaky.
So you're on the bench, and the coach looks at you and says, Bryant, you're in? What was that moment?
I remember it because I was sitting next to Drew, and we had the COVID mask on because you had to wear a mask on the bench. And good thing we did because it felt like, I felt like I could see my heart bouncing from my chest before he called me in, because I knew you kind of know okay, they've been in for 5 minutes, someone's about to get subbed out, and someone finally calls me in. I'm just making sure I take everything off, right? Because in the NBA you can wear whatever you want on the sideline in terms of warm up. So mask, this shirt, that shirt, pants. Okay, I'm off, I'm in. And I told myself to calm the nerves. As soon as I get in and touch it, if I'm open, I'm shooting it. That's the first thing I'm doing.
You're going to shoot. That's going to calm your nerves. You're just going to shoot it.
I'm just going to shoot it.
No matter where you're at.
No matter where I'm at. If I'm open, I'm shooting it. So I come running down the middle of the court, and I catch it wide open and just let it go. And it goes in, obviously.
So we're out way past the three-point line, or what?
It was a regular three, but the NBA three, people don't understand, is really far if you're coming from Europe. And I had just arrived a few days ago, right? So I shoot it, and it goes in, and finally I just feel okay, I'm here.
Did you have a sense of, so you took a breath, right? You're like, okay, I'm here, I made a bucket, and I can settle in. But did you feel like this could be good? That felt good coming out of my hand. You know how that is? Some days it feels great coming out of your hand. Did it feel like that?
It felt like that, and it kind of felt like, this is basketball. I've been playing this my whole life, And there wasn't that many fans there at the time because COVID. I don't even remember if there were fans there, but then it was just a regular basketball game. Everything's zoned out, and then now we're just playing. Obviously, guys are faster, stronger, but it's just basketball.
But you get 16 points, which is a great sign for your teammates. So here's this kid that's come over from the EuroLeague, and he goes in, he scores 16 points. What were their reactions?
They were excited. I mean, I think guys were more focused on this playoff run, but guys knew I was excited. And for me, I kind of felt I earned a little bit of a stripe, okay, this guy's not just some random guy. He actually knows how to play basketball, so.
Well, the playoffs begin then because you came in late, but that was a great precursor to the playoffs because that probably gave the coaches some confidence in you. You play in 11 games. The Bucks beat the Suns to win the NBA championship. Now you have an NBA ring on your finger. Do you have it? Do you
no, I didn't. I don't have it today.
It's like these guys always ask me, why don't you wear your national championship ring? I said, because I only wear it if I need better reception on television because it's too big. Is that thing just giant, that
it's
NBA
way
ring?
Too big,
So Andy Reid was asked at the Chiefs celebration of the Super Bowl where his Super Bowl ring was, why he didn't wear it, and he goes, this is my Super Bowl ring, and held up his wedding ring.
Because he's Tammy's the greatest thing he's ever done, which is awesome. But so how cool was that to be involved in that run, to play, to be a part of it, to have that ring, to know that you earned that ring? It's got to be a rush.
Yeah, I think it was super cool. I think a lot of people like to look at it and say, oh, you didn't play, you didn't do this. I mean, I gained a lot of, I learned a lot of things from those guys, and it wasn't necessarily when the buzzer went off, I was so emotional because people don't understand what it takes to just get there. From the coaches, from the players, even players that aren't playing, all the sacrifices my mom made, all the sacrifices everyone in my tribe made, my family. So it was just super emotional to really win an NBA championship just in this span and how everything played out. It was a big blessing. It still seems surreal looking back at it.
Well, guys like Giannis dream of scenarios where they could sit out the whole season and show up for the playoffs. Yeah. I think the Spurs have been trying to do that for years with sitting their stars. But to get it and to be a participant and I remember we were following your games, 11 playoff games for a young man who was in across this, over in Europe, in the Middle East, playing just a few weeks earlier. And I've looked at all the pictures of you and your wife with the trophy, and it's like a storybook.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a blessing. It's surreal.
I love that you said that it's almost like your whole life of preparation passed before your eyes as you took the moment in. That has to be cool for you to recognize all of the people in your family that are part of all of that, right?
Yeah, I think it was just, I remember the buzzard, and it's kind of like gotta pinch yourself a little bit. Is this happening? Is this not happening? And I remember we were down. There's a lot of scenarios in the playoffs when we were down to Brooklyn and down to Phoenix, just like, oh my God, like, how are we going to be able to beat these? Like, you know what I mean? And the preparation and the confidence, borderline cocky these guys have, they did what they need to do, and now we're going to do what we need to do. And they just take it one day at a time, because there's like, I've seen pressure before, but that finals media pressure with all the lights on you, like, it's a lot different than anything I've ever seen.
We've got Scott McKayan from Drummond, Montana, participating with us on the Wise Guys tonight. Thanks, Scott. Well, a few months later, talking about the ups and downs of basketball life, the Bucks put you on waivers, and you signed to play with Anadolu Efes in Istanbul, Turkey, and you win the EuroLeague championship. And this past season, you're in the Turkish League. You win that championship. So as Blaine mentioned earlier, back-to-back international titles, because the NBA is international as well. For a kid from Gwinnett County, Georgia, are you starting to feel special?
I think yes. I think I feel like my work is paying off, but I always feel like that little kid that no one ever believed in, that no one drafted. So it's just, I think it will always be in me, and I'm always trying to tell my brother, like, if you work, like I say, if you just have the 1 cent club mentality every single day, like, it's gonna work out. You're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows, but just keep stacking those days, and eventually, when you get done, you'll look and be like, wow, there's a lot in this piggy bank that I have. And I understand that, I have NBA championship, I have this, I have that, but I try to set new goals for myself every single year. First team EuroLeague, all this stuff to keep me hungry, keep me, wanting more. And I think if I do that, I'll be able to have some more success.
What does Janelle think about all this?
I mean, she sees the behind the scenes and how hard I work, so it's not like she expects it to happen, but when it does happen, she's not surprised. I think the NBA championship obviously is a surreal moment. It's the highest league in the world, so, but she understands how hard I work and what I've dedicated my life to, and she's obviously been a big part of that.
So she doesn't slip into the wife mode of, I have to be careful here, the wife mode of, well, don't you just always win championships?
No. She knows the ups and downs. She sees it. She sees the behind the scenes, shooting slumps or, not playing when I first get to Ephes. After playing for a little bit, it's a grind for sure.
You referenced the 1 cent club when you said you're talking to your brother, and you got show them that.
I don't know.
And you drinking that much water every day?
Is that part? This is my small one actually. I actually have a big Yeti.
How much water a day are you drinking?
At least a gallon for sure.
A gallon a day. That's my problem.
Yeah.
That's why I look like this. I need to drink more water. That's why I'm a fat guy. So, 1 cent club. Tell us what that is.
Yeah. So for me, it's just like is essentially the mentality that I gained after I got injured. Right. It's to put 1 penny in each and every single day, and to see where that adds up, and to be consistent over time. And it's not just basketball. So when I have my camps, I try to teach these kids that there's going to be hardships in life, right? You're going to have down days, and you're going to have things that don't go your way. Well, how are you going to be able to attack that? 1 cent just every single day. Whether it comes to your scriptures, your stretching, your homework, your basketball. These are the things I'm trying to teach with this brand and my camps, because anyone can do a basketball camp, right? But if you can teach a kid how to journal and how to really reflect on their life and their life choices, and to go back and understand that adversity is part of the process. And if you could teach at a young age, I think we would have a lot, I feel like, less depression, less anxiety, less all this stuff. But I feel like kids aren't taught that. They're taught that they have to be perfect at all times. And I think that's not sustainable or attainable. So
that's good stuff. And your camps, where are the camps, and how do kids get involved in those?
Yeah, so this year we didn't do it just with the chaos of the playoffs packing up and having another kid. So I think the camps, the end goal was to have a camp everywhere I played. So Eilat, Tel Aviv, Provo, Turkey. That's the end goal, and to have have like a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday have the community come together, have a special ed camp. I think just like give back to the community, and also give these kids an example that you don't have to be perfect, and to show them that obviously, like our Savior, like, you can make mistakes and still achieve a lot of success. So that's the plan.
What is the most misunderstood fact about living in Turkey?
People think it's unsafe, and it's really like, I guess I just been in Europe for a long time. I think when you first get there and you hear the mosque calls, that's kind of scary, like, because you don't understand what's going on. But
Right.
a lot of these people, like the Jews and the Turkish, they're very similar to like our faith. Like they're very similar. Like they very value family. They they very value like spending time together all the time. So I would say the most misunderstood fact about Turkey is just like it's unsafe, but it's actually, I feel safer there sometimes than America.
Have you, and is the plan to go back to Turkey this next year right now?
Yeah, I signed a 2-year extension.
So have you hooked up with Jeff and Cheryl Flake yet?
Yeah, we went. So actually,
And we have to tell everybody so Jeff was a former senator from Arizona. He's the ambassador to Turkey. He's a BYU grad.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Cheryl are over there in Turkey. We were talking about going over and visiting. They're really good friends. They live in Utah part of the year before they became the ambassadors, and they live right around the corner from us. And they're dear friends, and we traveled with them. I was hoping if you hadn't hooked up with them, I'm like,
them all the time,
I got to get you with Jeff and Cheryl over there.
Yeah.
Did they have you over to the embassy?
We so after we won the EuroLeague, we went to Ankara and visited like their White House.
Yeah.
And then we visited their embassy. So
They have quite a place right there,
it's
right?
nice. It's nice. Yeah. So
The
we
U.S.
visited
is
there.
doing it right over there.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they come to, when they're in Istanbul, they come to the games. And then when we go to Ankara and play, they come to the games. And so I see them all the time. I see them at the airport sometimes too when we're flying out. So.
Oh, I'm so glad that you and Janelle have made that connection. They're great people. I'm
people.
sure that they would look after you over there while you're there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we love them.
Your faith's a big part of what you do, especially as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I heard you say, quote, "The more you stick to the straight and narrow and hold onto the iron rod, the easier your life will be." In the chaotic world of professional basketball, what brought you to that conclusion?
I think it's easy to look at now and say, like, look back, like everyone always asks, why do you have so much success? I think it's my foundation. I think my morals, my foundation, my family, what I stand for. I mean, I have these conversations with my teammates all the time. Why are you giving 10% of your money away? The Pope is wearing a Rolex and that's your money, that type of stuff. So trying to explain this stuff to my teammates and understand that, like, if I'm able to live and abide by my, obligations, commandments that I've made, my life will be 10 times easier. And I've seen it happen. Obviously, we forget sometimes, but that's why we have the journal and we go back and read exactly, how we've been blessed. And I think if I continue to do that, there'll be more blessings to come.
Well said.
That's great stuff.
Is the goal of getting back to the NBA still the goal, or are you just now good with making a good living wherever you can?
I think for me, I'll never be comfortable where I'm at. So I think, I'm obviously just trying to be the best Elijah Bryant I can be. And if that takes me back to the NBA, then I think, so be it. But I think it has to be the right situation for my family. I just won't go on just to be back in the NBA again, like per se what I do in Milwaukee. I think we have a good situation in Turkey and overseas, and we've kind of established ourselves there. So I think that's a blessing too. So kind of just try to be the best every single day, and then at the end, we'll kind of see what's in the piggy bank.
Travis Hansen is
piggy bank because he's just putting 1 cent.
1 cent in.
1 cent.
Travis Hansen, who's been on the show, is a great example of wherever you're at, you can work and be successful, and what he did in the Euro leagues over there changed his life. Yeah. And you and another handful of former Cougars over there have made a living.
Exactly. I think people don't understand that there's a lot of levels to overseas basketball, and like you said, Travis played for some of the biggest teams, Real Madrid. I know he played in Russia, I think, as well. And people don't understand that sometimes you're making more money than NBA players over there.
Right.
And people kind of think, I remember sometimes someone asked me, do you have a second job? And I'm like, no, I don't have a second job. I
just win the EuroLeague.
Hey, people ask us that all the time. You cannot be making a living talking on television. So do you have a second job? We're like, no.
Yeah, exactly. So I think people, it's definitely a blessing to, play a game for a living. It comes with highs and lows as any other career does, but for us, we're super grateful.
What do you think of BYU going to the Big 12 and playing basketball with those teams?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I was up there a few weeks ago with my brother for camp and watching them practice. I'm glad I'm not doing college workouts anymore. I can say that.
Yeah.
Those guys are grinding, man, from lifting to to basketball, to school, to camps. It's a lot of work, man. So I'm glad they're getting some money now, to say the least.
Yeah.
But I think it's exciting for them to go to the Big 12, not just for the aspect of basketball, but I think BYU's brand to spread the bigger message, you know, of the church. So I think it'll be exciting. It'll probably take a few years, you know, entering a better players, more athletic. But it's going to be so cool to see the Marriott Center sold out to these big teams.
Yeah, it's like you may be playing Gonzaga back-to-back games in that league, right?
Exactly. I remember, yeah, for sure.
It's been a great visit with Elijah Bryant. I think he's ready for 5 questions.
Yes, he is.
Are
you
ready?
Five. And you heard yours aren't exactly the same.
And we have a couple bonus questions.
Yeah,
too.
you get some bonus ones. We're going to do 6 with you. So we don't get you here in the United States often enough. So your favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie is probably the one I just watched, Steph Curry.
Was it 30 for 30 kind of
No,
thing?
he did a documentary. It's on Apple TV. I forgot the underrated is what it's called.
It's called Underrated. You know what? I got to go find that.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Should I do it? Is it worth it?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see him hit his hole-in-one the other day at the golf thing?
And he ran the full length. He was playing in that that Pro-Am celebrity tournament over in Tahoe, in Incline Village. And he hit a hole-in-one, and he sprinted the full length of the hole all the way to the...
I listened to an interview, and they asked him, like, how does that compare to, you know, what you do? He's like, okay, when I shoot, I know, like, I can go in. So, like, but when I do that, I've never done that. So he was like, I blacked out. I was doing stuff I never do, running, jumping, fist bumping.
Going nuts.
Exactly.
It was fun to watch. He really enjoyed that. So your favorite singer or band?
Favorite singer or band is probably Drake.
Drake.
Like Drake.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You know who else loved the Drake? Who'd we have?
Calls him the Drake. That's a problem right there, right?
Call the Drake. The Drake from Seinfeld.
His favorite band is AC/DC.
The Drake is as we call it, the Drake's from Seinfeld. The Drake.
The Drake. You're right. They call him the Drake.
Who did we have here that was in the? It was
like
Mitch
Drake.
Matthews.
Yeah, Mitch Matthews. Drake was his favorite too.
And he said Drake, and I said, love the Drake.
What are Utah guy Post Malone? Do you like Post?
I like him a lot. Yeah, I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I think he
just lives right up the road here.
But he doesn't beat the Drake.
No.
So not the Drake. So favorite breakfast cereal?
Favorite breakfast cereal, probably. I don't eat it a lot, rarely. Probably Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast.
Yeah, that's a popular one. Oh. Just so you know, for dinner, I didn't realize we were having all this stuff here.
Yeah.
And so I had some Cinnamon Life, which is very similar to Cinnamon
that's
Toast
good.
Crunch. Not quite as cinnamony, though, as Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's a good one, though. I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Here's where we veer off.
Yeah, this is
where
we give you a couple of your own.
Okay.
Favorite European food to eat? Favorite cuisine from
Favorite European food to eat? Probably either a doner, which is from Turkey, or slouvaki. Slouvaki is from Greece. And it's like...
What did you say was from Turkey?
A donor.
A donor?
Donor.
What is it?
Like a booster?
No. It's like I would say it's like a burrito, but it has like meat, potatoes. They're kind of similar to the same stuff of the slouvaki, but this one's kind of like heated up. So we'll get them sometimes after practice.
Oh, nice. A donor.
And does Janelle make those?
It's like a street food.
In Turkey?
Yeah.
Cool.
Can Janelle make those?
She hasn't really gotten to the Turkish cuisine. You know?
So if we come over and stay with Jeff and Cheryl Flake at the embassy,
don't know exactly.
They'll take us out for some donors, right?
Some donor.
100%.
Okay. We need to come when you're playing, and we can all come to a game.
Of course.
That would be fun. So, favorite thing about being a father?
Now a father of two.
Somebody mentioned, father of two, but just about being a dad. What's the coolest thing?
I think there's probably a few things, but one is to see them grow and then depend on you, you know, and it changes your perspective on everything. And you know, you have a bad game, you come home, you kind of see, okay, here's the real perspective. Like, you know, you understand that this game really doesn't matter. So I think it's given me a lot of perspective, but it's also been super cool to have someone really depend on you. You know, they can't change their diapers, they can't do any of that. And it always relates to me in like the savior, how I'm a child to the savior, you know, and I think that's what having a child has really made me understand, like, this is how he feels when I don't listen, or this is how he feels when I don't do this, you know. So I think that's been very cool.
Steve from Brigham City says, Dave and Blaine, come up north and enjoy the world-famous Maddox Steakhouse. They're not saying we need to go all the way over to Turkey for a
Steve, I've been to Maddox, and I'll concur. It's very, very good. I think, Dave, that you and I may have gone there on our way to Logan one time. So
that's good stuff.
So, and Spencer McMillan says, and Blue's your little brother, right?
Blue is my son.
Oh, Blue's your son.
Yeah.
What's your brother's name?
Kai.
Oh, it's Kai.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
How old's Kai?
Kai's 16 now.
Yeah, and is Kai good? Is he a baller? Is he
He's good.
Can he play at BYU?
He might have a chance. He might have a chance. Yeah.
Really?
Ooh,
He's got a lot to live up to. Does he want to do that?
Yeah, we'll see.
It's hard. It's hard to play in Big Brother's shadow, but he's a good one.
And
huh?
it's Blue and
Rocco.
Blue and Rocco. That's
Nice.
right. Okay, Kai. I couldn't remember what your brother's name was.
All right,
So-
here's a bonus question.
Yeah. How impactful has your mother been throughout this journey of yours? You've referred to her as your superhero before.
Yeah, she's I get teary-eyed sometimes thinking about it, but without her, I wouldn't, really be anything. And I think she's sacrificed everything, for me in terms of, going to medical school and all this stuff. And that's what really hit me when I won the NBA championship. Just like all those days driving to Atlanta, all those days of her cussing me out, and kind of seeing like, she saw the picture. She had the confidence in me before I really had the confidence in myself. So it's been an interesting dynamic now that she's a grandma, because she's trying to apply the same thing to my kids. I'm like, Mom, relax. She's like, no, this is how you made it, so you need to do it this way. And I'm kind of like, dang, this is hard, man. This is hard. But yeah, she's definitely my superhero.
That's awesome. I need to talk to your mom because now that I'm a grandpa, Dave's a grandpa too.
Yeah.
We've realized that it's the best gig in the world.
Yeah, they're better than
You'll
the
get there
kids.
someday because the greatest day in your life with your kids will come one day, Elijah. And it's when your 25-year-old says, Dad, when you told me this and this and this, man, you were so right. I don't know why I wasn't listening. That's a big day.
Yeah.
And then the next best day is when your job is just to spoil the grandkids, and your kids are like, Dad, why are you giving her that right now? It's 9:30 at night, and you go, that really isn't my problem right now. That's
We get
your
a lot of
problem.
freedom. We get a lot of freedom back.
We do whatever we want now, and it's awesome. And all our job is to have the grandkids love us. So tell mom, she just needs to worry about spoiling them. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
can
And
do
you,
what she
and,
wants.
you, and you will pass along the lessons, right?
Yeah.
There's
Your mom's an awesome woman. We
There's
know
a
that.
great scene. There's a great scene after you've won the title out there on the floor with your mom, and she throws her arms around you, or you throw yours around her. It's just an embrace of a journey that had started so long ago and was hard, and then there you are about to get a ring as an NBA world champion.
Yeah, it was surreal. It's kind of hard. I think I heard Chris Paul talk about it, and Steph Curry talked about it. You always feel like you're in this rat race. You're trying to chase the next achievement. And I think I won't really appreciate it until I retire and kind of sit back and really admire what not only I did, but my whole tribe did. And it's sometimes I look at the ring and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But then I'm always focused on, okay, what's the next step to get another one, or what's the next step to be a better Elijah Bryant? So that's where I'm trying to focus now.
And Lou, FS opens a new season October 5th against FC
You guys on the road in Barcelona, or are you at home?
I have no idea. I didn't even look at the
Do you know
schedule
Dave?
yet.
I think it's at home because I think I'd have written
I literally just flew in from Barcelona.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
But
which I love that city.
yeah.
October 5, that's just around the corner.
Yeah.
So when would you head back?
So we leave August 20th to head back. So 19 more days, and we'll be
And
out.
that's it? Your
That's
your
it.
North American escape of what, about 2 months?
2 months. Yeah, it's a short season for guys, or short off season for guys overseas. So yeah.
I know, and you implied and talk about the things that are hard in your career and stuff, but isn't it just a blast for a former college basketball player to get paid to play basketball at the highest levels?
Exactly. It's a blessing. I know. That's why people I always feel sorry for people who have to work, but then they have to find time to work out as well. So for me, it's like when I'm working out, I'm working too. So my wife's like, "Oh, I want to work out today," and I'm like, dang, I take that for granted. Like, my job is to work out today.
Yeah.
So, and play basketball. So that's a big blessing.
That
for
is
sure.
a great blessing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Well, you're a tremendous representative of the church and of the school.
Our
and-
streamers they've just loved learning a little bit more about you and getting to know you. So BYU Sports Act says when you acknowledge your tribe, that means something, which is really cool. And
for the love,
people are loving it.
would you eat a bunch of that
Take
stuff?
some of that for like,
take it
some
home.
for sure.
Take some home with. That's a lot of stuff.
Text Janelle, say I'm bringing home dinner.
Say, Janelle, don't worry about dinner tonight or tomorrow night. We
Okay,
got
okay,
this. And
okay,
take whatever you
perfect.
need from
Thank
that.
you, guys.
And hey, next summer we'll be back and report in.
Let's do it.
We'd love to have you every summer.
We'll keep track of you over there. Now that I know that you're kind of under the Flakes wing over there, we'll keep track of you.
Perfect.
So,
The great Elijah Bryant live with us. Thank you, Eli.
thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
And great to have you in person. 19 more days, and he's back over to Turkey, and continuing his great life. What an example! And it's been fun to watch the reactions of everybody because they know and they get it.